Good morning, Andrew. First of all, thanks for joining our All Things Connected virtual thought leadership series. Property tech has been one of the oldest industry. If I remove the tech, but real estate and property has been always there, $1 trillion, multi-trillion dollar industry. And before we get to the conversation, and I was looking at your background, you have such a vast experience of not just into the industry, but you have been part of the academia, you have been part of some of the industry bodies. And if, like I said, if I start reading all your profile and the work which you have done is going to take a lot of time, right? So for the benefit of for the listener, if you could kind of summarize yourself maybe in 3-4 keywords, and what awakes keeps you awake in the middle of night and motivate you to go back to work still at this age. Yeah.
Okay. So my own background. I mean, I'm a trained as an engineer, and engineer always train what we call a reductionist model. You make certain assumptions based on what you know, what you've learned, and then you go on and make some deduction and make some effects. Now, since coming into the domain of innovation, I think, you asked me 3 words, and I think I was thinking through that as well, and thinking, I think what describes me, I'll use 3 words, is inquisitive is 1 word, believe is the 2nd word, and don't give up is my 3rd word. As an engineer, I was trained to say, well, you look at a problem, you make some assumptions, you reduce it to another domain, and then you make certain assumption, you reduce it to another domain, and you make a decision. But really, innovation is about give up all those reductionist thinking and just say, what are the possibilities? And to do that, so that's why the 3 words of inquisitive nature, and never give up and not think that, well, it can be done. And I have to believe in it. But obviously, this is, you can't always dream like a dreamer. So what one of the really statement I really like is a statement by a guy called Clement Stone. And his statement is saying, aim for the moon. Even if you fail, you fall among the stars. And that's, I think, must be my motto over the last 20 years in looking at the impossibilities and try to turn that into possibilities. Of course, commercial realities, you got to bring something down to earth to make it application, and that's what we're trying to do. And at night, I wake up every morning thinking that, well, I'm going to make a difference today, and try to do something. And the world is changing. Even in COVID, we see a lot of possibilities.
Right.
Life goes on. Even COVID is bringing us everything to a halt. But that brings a new opportunity. That brings a new potential. And I keep thinking, what can I do to make something else happen, given this is what we have? And somebody just sent me a photo today from New Zealand saying, oh, you see a double rainbow just outside one of my classmates. He runs a motel over there. He said, well, that is hope, because amidst that, you see new rainbows, you see new possibilities. And that's what keeps me awake. But I think that makes me feel happier and content to continue to do what I like to do and what I love to do.
That's a very good start. Something which have to keep us motivated every night, every morning, so that if we are working from home, we're still motivated to be motivated enough to start something new. Yeah. So let's take up the topic of today, which is the future of real estate and prop tech. And before we talk about future, maybe I'd like to go back to a bit of the history, right? As the real estate is pretty much from the ideation, landscaping, construction, build, facility management, a lot of other things, right? If you look back last 45 years, we have seen, I think, the most of the technological transformation, right? In various technology, from SOC, from communication technologies. So what is your view, if you could kind of have to put a journey map of last 45 years, how the real estate has evolved?
Real estate's been around since how many centuries ago? And but interestingly, when we look at a macro perspective, how technology has changed our lives. If I take one level higher, technology and innovation has disrupted manufacturing, which we knew, or replaced of manufacturing. And then as of late, I think we see in the 80s, the coming in, or the 90s, the coming of the Facebook, Google, and all that. I mean, those are disrupting other industry, like financial industry. I think that's been heavily disrupted now. We see more and more coming through. And I think real estate has so far been the only one major industry that has not been touched, or very little has been touched. Uh, and that could be a number of reasons. That could be because people want to protect themselves, people feel the livelihood is threatened, and they guard against, this is my practice. And real estate, a lot of people say it's about human interaction, it's about behavior, it's about customer relations. Yes and no. Many part of real estate is very mechanized, and things are done in the background. That why can't it be disrupted by technology? And I think, for example, somebody said, can we replace can we use a robot to replace a customer service? No, you can't. A robot with a nice AI engine at the back can probably answer all the very difficult questions in a very nice manner, but you still lack human touch, the face-to-face. You know, what I think we enjoy in COVID, during COVID in Hong Kong, is that we're lucky that we can still go out to dine. I mean, people try not to, but then, you know, now that we get in a clearer situation, we're able to have 8 people on the table. You still can't get the feeling of meeting someone face to face during their body language, not on the screen. You get more than dimensional response. And I think real estate is one of those last frontier that has not been touched. But if you look at real estate, the impact of real estate is that when we build a building, a developer build a building, is typically a 4 to 5 year cycle, from planning to design to looking at focusing which market segment, and then you get an architect, you get a designer, blah, 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 and all that. I mean, just imagine the disruption and the saving that we can achieve. That 5 year cycle can be shrunk by 1 month, and or 2 months, and the associated financing costs. I mean, those are the impact which I think will be realized in the years to come, and people don't realize. You know, I can tell you a number of examples. You know, and I see real estate and PropTech. There are already quite a number of technologies out there that can really improve operation of real estate operations. But in a general culture, I see, and when I talk to people in the trade, the same conservatism, the same attitudinal putting a shuttle down. It's the same in Hong Kong. It's the same maybe in Singapore.
Almost everywhere. Yeah.
Everywhere is the same. People say we're real estate. We don't need that. You know, I still need to do this and do that. So I think the disruption, which means really that brings about a lot of possibility for disruption, but the pace of change has been very, very slow. I think COVID brings about the impetus to change, because let me cite an example. Right now in Hong Kong, we see Class A commercial buildings, people dropping off. They say, well, we don't have so much space. You know, if we can work from home for last 3-4 months and still business going on, why do we need to rent Class A office? Why do we need to bring people back? And I'm getting quite used to having Zoom meeting like 5 or 6 in a day, because you're very efficient. You don't move. You just log in and log out to a meeting. It's much easier for people to meeting, because everyone can just say, yeah, we can do it 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. Yeah, all of us free, and click. Instead of saying, oh, let's book a room, let's get transport arrangement and all that. So it's becoming more efficient. And I think those benefits are yet to be realized. There are many examples. I mean, we can talk into details later on into that. So that's what gets me excited. But I think another element that really comes out of COVID for real estate is not just about building performance. It's not about the energy, but I think for COVID we see people now care about wellness. People care about the environment that we live in, but also care about what does it do, how does it impact my wellness? Do I
Right.
feel safer in the office? I mean, everybody feels safe at home, but can I have the same feeling of safety, of wellness, of my well-being? I do not want to get contaminated because it affect my family. So I think that brings another dimension, much more beyond the social responsibility that we're looking at, like lighting level, energy, environment, but personal wellness. How does environment give personal wellness? And I think those are opportunity to be realized.
Each process has its own efficiencies. So when I talk to the people into construction, they talk about their own challenges, where we think about IoT solutions, whether it's about asset monitoring, whether it's uh, uh, workforce management solutions, whether it's about even BIM modeling part of the collaboration within the different team. At the same time, FM team has their own challenges. So from the overall process point of view, if there is a problem somebody should be trying to address, which area do you think is the most inefficient today?
I would think the from a capital perspective, the construction side has huge opportunity to reduce
Mhm,
capital costs because building is expensive. Uh,
mhm,
Nowadays, we have similar problem in Singapore. We don't have in Hong Kong. We don't have enough construction labor, and we cannot import foreign workers. And I think in Singapore you have. So our construction cost has been creeping up
okay.
digit over the last 5 or 10 years, and that's a huge cost to any building. So I think my view is that that could really be addressed as a very macro issue because if we can bring that construction cost to a amicable level, that means
Mm,
it's less to build building, and that means the consumer can pay less for a
yeah,
same class of asset,
yeah.
and that is a huge social benefit to the whole community. I mean, our young people suffer from expensive real estate that we cannot.
Right.
Part of real estate, high real estate cost is the land cost, but the other part is also the construction cost. So I think that will bring about a lot of change, but also bring about a lot of efficiency improvement, and in a way, then you resulting in a better product. But then uh, the secondary benefit I see from the facility management side, I think that's an ongoing. And for that, I don't see the opportunity of reducing costs or reducing
Mm,
labor. I see the
mhm,
opportunity of maintaining labor force, but providing superior quality services to make people feel that they want to use. I mean, that's how developers should differentiate themselves with others because we provide better quality services and technology enable that quality services to be I mean we don't need a concierge to be a robot like a chatbot.
mm,
A concierge may have assistive devices. They can kind of know the customer asking what kind of question. They can respond with better responses and more knowledge. I mean, they have knowledge of what the responses are, and that provide better services. So I see.
mhm,
My view is I see construction costs can be addressed quite rapidly with
mhm,
internet technology, and that could also um, come about with the field that you guys are in, IoT sensors, giving a building a better performance, but also enable the building owners to run the building much more efficiently later on. Because right now, most buildings don't have a lot of sensors. A lot of
yeah,
sensors are built in afterwards. So why
correct.
not put sensors in when you're building the building? And that makes sense, isn't it?
Mm. As you rightly said, I think building construction use case will be pretty much driven from saving the cost and obviously some of the inefficiencies there. At the same time, since the building is going to stay there for another several decades,
Mhm.
as you rightly said, it is more about creating experience for the user for those organizations, or even I'm sure many of your partners and customers who heavily rely on physical spaces, right? What could they do? What they should try to re-innovate to first remain in the business, and second part is to be back on the foot again and scale forward from the facility management point of view. Not talking about those who already have an online presence, but somebody who have been relying on purely on physical spaces.
I think there always be the need for shopping centers, for physical facilities. People cannot live on virtual all their life. I mean, we look at the world, people still want to interact, people still want to go out. In Hong Kong, we're lucky that through this period, our shopping center has not closed down. So people were able to go out. So I think we're much more in a better situation than countries like Singapore and other places. But I see in the future, because people got so used to online services, so it's not a diverging, I think it's a converging, that would still go to physical facility, but they also rely heavily on online. And we see a trend even before COVID that people are talking about with the Alibaba system in the mainland, JD.com, and in the US. You see there are many online systems. Has there been a decline of shopping centers, and so people go from offline to online? But we actually see a reversing trend. It went up, and then online system is coming back to offline again. So there is a convergence, but I think in that convergence, it's not one or the others. It is a converging of level that people may see on the offline, go to shopping center to try out, to see and feel, but they order online because they deliver to their home, which means we see an opportunity for the offline shopper to offer online on the spot. So instead of them trying out a jacket and then decide to go home and run, you can do it straight away. And that convenience of bringing that level of services to customer, I think maybe is the way to come. So for like us as a developer, we just simply assets. So things we are looking at is high-speed Wi-Fi and 5G internet services, because those infrastructure enables customers to be able to get on online services much quicker and fulfill that seamless experience. So if I see a jacket, I can go, yes, I like that, and then bingo, it's bought, and then you deliver straight away. Maybe before I leave the shopping, on its way in the last month. So when I get home, oh, it's there. The box is there. So I think for us, one of the things we've been really looking at is we see the coexistence of assets will still be coming to serve human behaviors, but we see enhancements of technical infrastructure like Wi-Fi, high-speed services, connectivity. That really is the key to make things happen. But on the other hand, too, I think COVID also bring about the awareness of people about sanitization, about cleanliness, about air quality. So one of the things we also have been focusing on is what are the emerging technology? What are the technology that may not be essential in the past, but right now we've been installing and looking at air sanitization technology. When you go into lift, escalator, cleanliness of the services. But other aspects of like sensors, we've been looking at deployment of massive sensors in shopping centers, in space. As in the past, when we look at like a room, you have a thermometer on the wall, and that measures that point. But ideally, I want the temperature at this level, at this point, to be aligning with my comfort level, and around the wall, it doesn't really need to be that cool. So, air quality could be managed for environmental sake. We probably use less energy. But in shopping center, I think people will probably now want to know what are the IAQ, the indoor air quality at the various point that I'm in. So
Hmm.
those call for more sensors, call for data analytics, call for translation of those data into something as assigned to consumer. I mean, all those are becoming opportunity because even,
Correct.
I use a point about wellness. We
Yep.
want to know the wellness in the environment, and that gives me the comfort to visit this shopping center compared to another one, which is lesser
Hmm.
advanced or sophisticated. So I think
Yep.
all these are really, food for thoughts, and that I think developer at this point in time should use this opportunity to say what will make our asset appeal to consumer beyond COVID, because it become a norm. It's like
Yep.
wearing masks will be a norm. People saying don't wear
Hmm.
mask, you look like an idiot. But now
Yeah.
the mask
No.
become a normal standard gear when you go out for quite a while, I would think.
This is a very nice way to put it, that the wellness part which you mentioned, right? The wellness part within the building, the hyper localization, if I can say.
Mm.
And I will certainly visit Sino Group shopping mall if it's kind of classified as Class A wellness versus other, because this is what basically bring the confidence and the trust to the guest to visit those malls, right? So if I now we already kind of touched upon some of those technical areas, whether it's about indoor quality monitoring or the triage robots. But if we kind of look ahead, maybe another next 20, 25, or 30 years, be COVID without COVID, I think this transformation will happen. Where do you see, if you can quote some of the examples where Sino Group is, as example, broad wellness, or some of the examples which we will see hopefully when I visit the Sino Group mall next
Okay,
time?
okay. Like obviously, so right now we rely on some of our colleague understanding. So we know typically, like for example, we have a medical center building here in Tsim Sha Tsui, and we've been installing highly advanced virus killing air cleaning, virus killing sanitization devices at the lobby itself, because that gives me a comfort. It's a medical center. When I come in, I feel worried, and so for our tenants, they want to be assured that we, as a landlord, are helping them to assure their potential customers. So we've been installing a particular plasma technology that can zap viruses within like 0.2 seconds as it go past. So we'll be installing that on a very open manner in the lift lobby. So that's in the waiting area. So that's like the current technology. But then on a future technology aspect, right now we are experimenting with robots, and we've been fitting. So in a traditional sense, you fit sensors onto a wall at a certain point, and you run power, but which gets quite expensive. So what we've been experimenting with, we started a project which we just built a prototype. We'll be installing sensor on a patrolling robot, and we send the robot to patrol areas. But that, first of all, it gives us cost effectiveness
Correct.
of, and then second aspect is gives us a lot of data. So we will know on the big data perspective on the loop why certain area with the IAQ, or depending what sensor we're looking for, what air quality we're sensing, why is that area creating a problem? Maybe it's because it's closer to somebody's plant, some exhaust or something. So we can find out instead of only finding out when the problem arises. So we can preempt on a preemptive basis, knowing that. But we see that convergence of using advanced sensings on a self-patrolling robots, that we can program the robots to do this own patrol. So I also work with universities here, that we've been also working with university teams to say, tell us what you can do with the robots. Can we send a robot on auto patrol, but at the same time also be detecting potential water spillage? So again, all these are possibilities, and I see the future that gives, like in the shopping center, somebody drop a paper cups of drink on the floor, or somebody say, "Oh, I have to find where is the service," and go to find a concierge. Somebody spilled it because somebody slipped over. But if we have a patrolling robots, they may be able to pick up this stand quicker and just stay there and flash and alive, say, stand away and call for help. And our cleaners can do a quick response and go there. So I think all this can be done. Not that we can, I mean, okay, we might be able to use a robot to clean up, but it's actually much easier with our cleaning team. They just come along and they clean it up to set it. So, so we see in the future, looking at wellness, I mean, we look at air quality, we look at temperature, so we can know which pocket is too cold or too warm, then we can adjust the air conditioning system. That saves energy costs, which is part of a big running cost for shopping center. The other aspect of, we can know aspects about security, about someone fell down or kids running around, they need to contain. and those can be done with sensing technology. But of course, technology cannot be done, but can be also quite expensive. So again, bringing technology to an affordable level is also the other challenge we're looking at. You know, there are many sensors around. Yes, it can mean we can send a spaceship to the moon and into the orbit. You know, from engineer, we know all things can be done, but at what sort of cost can the shopping center afford it? But we are seeing the level, the costs of technology coming down, and we're seeing analytics, AI analytics that can give a lot of the intelligence to help the operator to respond quickly. So those convergence are making sure that in the future, some of these environment that we desire can be affordable and achievable.
Do you foresee like some sort of this marking will also come in? That okay, this building is more safer or more cleaner in from the other, some sort of those star rating kind of thing. Do you foresee something like that?
I mean, IAQ at the moment, there are ratings on indoor air quality and people start seeing so. But it only looks at a certain spot. It's not looking at level 1, level 2, level 3, saying, oh, this has meet IAQ. And they only take reading at a certain location. So I can foresee in the future the differentiation by developer was saying, well, we cover IAQ in all area instead of, oh, we have an IAQ rating, because, and that's how we differentiate. And I think, you know, working with the governing agency to come out rating, it's a good thing. And I think inevitably that will come in. You know, the differentiation will push for certain rating to come out, and we are seeing like right now, for example, one of our building in a residential building that we just about to launch in Hong Kong is the first one in Hong Kong to receive a first wellness rating by a US agency, and that looks at how we design that building for wellness people, and which is good. So I think other developer will follow suit. So we see, you know, the traditional rating will become more sophisticated and bringing all this wellness. So that will come. But I think from a commercial side, we might then be able to make a mark much earlier by telling customer, see, you know, we give you better quality in all aspects on every single corner of our asset, instead of others may just say, yeah, we achieve IAQ, but it might be the main lobby, you know, this area. Yeah. So that could make a difference. Yeah.
My recommendation always to some of those solutions companies to don't sell the solution to the retail shops. Go and discuss with building owners, right? Because the way I look at it, and correct me if my thought process is not in line, that building owners have interest to continue the long-term agreement, be it tenancy agreement or those things with those retailers, right? And obviously, if the retailers or the office people, if they make money, then they will going to continue further, right? Because take example, if I'm renting a space for $10,000 per month in a particular shopping mall, if I already see that business is not happening in that particular shopping mall, I may choose to close it down, right? So if the owner spent this $10,000 extra on this retail shop to keep him hooked up with him for another few years, I think that makes more sense to me. rather than going to the retail owner to ask him to spend this $10,000, because a month of gap in the tenancy agreement itself is like recover everything, right?
Mhm.
So sometimes this is the way we look at when we talk about IoT solutions into building and facility management. That who is the actual user could be somebody else, but the investor will be somebody else because he look at the problems differently. Do you see the same way that helping your retailers, helping your customer to make money, and you going forward implement some of those technical solutions? Maybe it could be just base infrastructure, like some sort of in-building solutions, as
Yeah.
you said, providing the connectivity. Let's get the base thing first, then you can add more and more things.
Yeah. I, I think from our group, we certainly, I think, let me speak from the aspect, all the developer that I've seen in around, they're still very much in their own verticals.
Correct.
Very much shield from saying, I should not break out my vertical. So for example, I should not be providing the high the high bandwidth services latency, because the retailer should be able to get it from the telco supplier.
Exactly.
What if, the challenge is, what if we provide certain infrastructure outside that when a shopper comes past, and this is a young shopper who may be looking for a running shoes, and there's a motion detection, see this is a young person, and then the screen may flash like, oh, two shops down the road, there's Nike, and go to it, and they say, oh yeah, Nike's on that corner, so to go. Now, we need to get developers to think of those. It's a partnership deal. It's a saying, I mean, right now, most shopping center would collect a marketing levy, and then they do general marketing to bring customer in. But we probably need to go beyond to say, can we customize shopper experience for shopper? So when they come in, we know this person is somebody who's going to buy a suit, or somebody who's going to buy an expensive watch. Okay, you can, go to level 2, and there is this Rolex is having a special on 10%, 20% off. I mean, not the Rolex rule. I'm just joking, but they could divert them towards a shop. I think those partnership, we see quite a number of technology coming through that can help developer, or that can help the retailer. But retailers say, well, it's not directly applicable to me because it's applicable to everybody else. But the developer may think that, well, it's going into the retailer's business. Should I invest into it? I think there needs to be some sort of convergence down the road. We see that trend. There's quite a lot of discussion goes on. I think more developers are willing now to explore those technologies to provide a better, because the shopper also think that when I come in, this shopping center gives you a better experience. Instead of being a fragmented shopping center, I really don't know where can I get some baby clothes, so I need to go now, concierge and ask. But if from in advance through an app or something, I'm looking for baby clothing. When I go to the shopping center, the moment the shopping center knew that I'm in, they can, through a pathfinder, tell me, oh, here are if you go to this level, here are the baby clothing, this is what you're looking for. So those are, I think that there needs to be a convergence of investment in technology by developer as a service also to the retailer, and that will really consolidate and make sure that shopping center become a viable landscape that shopper will to come in, and I believe they will still want to come in and experience.
What is your view on this buzzword like PropTech? Because we have seen so many hackathons, so many initiatives, but doesn't produce, if I can say, something which can scale. Right? And we call it, when I have a conversation in my domain with companies, many companies stuck into this vicious cycle. It could be either extreme. One is too big a company, uh, and they were doing a lot of fancy stuff, innovation, hackathons, and a lot of those call for ideas things. But it still doesn't come out. And then there is another extreme, the companies who are just running after quarter numbers. They don't have time for innovation. So both extreme are not good. Right? So how do we kind of balance this vicious cycle of too extreme and bring them to some kind of something more practical.
Yeah.
Any advice on that? Then not to just get into the hype of buzz, but how to make it more real in a sense.
Yeah. I, yeah. It comes back to, I think, innovation. My firm belief is innovation and technology is becoming essential. Is more becoming essential for the future, current and the future, because how we see the light of Google's, Facebook, etc. Those new tech disrupting how we live. And I think now the general community having experience of that nature also demands that level of wellness or that level of experience to be deployed in something that has not been deployed before. So I think many developers, in fact, most of the major developers in Hong Kong all have an innovation department, and they all are aware that we need to get into something. But adoption of innovation technology is still slow because of the capital, high capex nature. So everybody counts the cost and all that sort of thing. So I think innovation has to achieve certain value or perception of value, not necessarily, and value can be looked in two dimensions. One is saving, so I can count how much money I've saved. But another dimension is the value proposition. If I think that shopping center carries a higher value, I'm more to be there. I mean, those are hard to be measured in a tangible manner, but it's like marketing, branding. How can you put a dollar against a certain brand, but it reflects in activity? So I think that pendulum will swing from hard-nosed bean counting mentality of saying, does it give me a payback or tangible saving? I want to see saving in power. That we can. But what about increase in value? Well, cannot quantify. But that would take a number of years to build up. That you would have more high quality tenant wanting to do more, because for example, most shopping center would charge a turnover rent. So as the value is the business is good, we get more rent as well. So I think that trend would see. But the beauty now is that with the amount of startup and with the amount of the tech company scaling up, and we see these small tech company are very agile, and they can with the services that you guys provide, they're able to scale up quickly. They're able to do business, and they're more agile. They're more flexible. They can deliver, and then as customer and embrace those technology, they see the value and they go for more. So I think it's a vicious circle, and we're just in the early part of that cycle. But one thing I think consumer are now demanding that instead of, I mean, for example, I would in this last few months, I've been doing quite a lot of online shopping. It's just finding, but it still doesn't. You can look at the screen, you can look at people's feedback, but doesn't get a feel of, let me look at a pair of shoes. How does it fit? Does it you still lack that the ability for a consumer to translate their experience. I think, in the future we might have AR and VR technology that will come and gives you also overcomes that challenges. But that we see really the trend in going up. So I think in the future for developers or building owners, you cannot afford not to have technology within the assets, because otherwise you're going to lose customers.
Typical ROI formula works on two numbers. One is the bottom line, the cost. How can we reduce the cost, which is measurable, much easier. But then comes the top line, which is the value part. How can I create more value? And that's where the creativity comes in, not just into the technology, but sometimes also the business model. So like as a service, you mentioned that maybe you create some of those tools and technologies which retailers can subscribe, maybe depend on their business size, depend on the categories. So you don't have to pay upfront costs. So some of those, I think, innovation into the even business model part, that how do we share the value when we help you to grow, so we grow together, right? If that happens, I don't mind actually paying more rent to a company because I know I'm going to make more money. Because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, profit is the difference of the two, right? If I pay cheap, I don't make money, but I'm still not doing good. So that's where I think creativity comes in from different the group who come together. If anybody in the young early stage of the career trying to get into this real estate or prop tech industry, what will you kind of want to tell them? But as a motivation or as that, hey guys, don't worry, it's not like brick and mortar stuff. There's a lot of innovative opportunities out there, and be engineer, bring those all those inside there. An insight for them?
Um, it comes back to my own motto is aim for the moon. And if you fail, even if you fall, you fall amongst the stars. Is for young people is about, and I think young people nowadays is they want to make an impact. They want to make a difference. And I mean, you can make I mean, not everybody needs to be a medical doctor that will go out to Africa to try to help the poor, but we can all make a difference in the society. I mean, maybe through creating a better work environment, maybe creating a better system for unemployed people to work and etc. So for young people, and I do a lot of work with young people at university, I often encourage saying, just be inquisitive and just, you have to believe that you can make a difference. And whether it's PropTech, whether it's a shopping center, whether it's a building, it's an environment for you to manifest, to translate your desire into a realistic environment. So just don't give up and just believe in making a difference, and that will make a change. So some people think, oh, I have to do science, I have to do, but yes, you have to do science. You have to do, I often believe in the basic mathematics, the basic physics law and all that kind of things. But really, PropTech is just another way of describing technology using in property context. Is that many of the sensors technology are used in manufacturing, are used in hospitals, healthcare. So for young people, my encouragement often is just believe that you can make a difference and go and make a difference, because the world is changing. So if you're in there, you'll be among one of the stars in the dark skies above. Yeah.
That's wonderful. I think with that, we come to the end of this wonderful, insightful discussion. And I would like to thank again Andrew for spending the time this morning with us. To all the listeners, this is All Things Connected Virtual Thought Leadership Series, and we had a discussion with Andrew Young, Associate Director, Sino Group from Hong Kong, and I'm very happy to see this traditional industry, if I can say, the real estate and property tech, but led by Andrew and his team, trying to innovate a lot of innovative things. So hopefully we'll have more of such conversation. And hope to meet you sometime in person. I was supposed to be on the road. I was supposed to be in Hong Kong actually in May for some of those conversations. But having said that, I look forward to having your regular conversation and add value together to the larger emerging tech ecosystem. So thank you, Andrew, and you take a good rest.
Yeah.
And speak again.
And thank you for the opportunity for me to share, and just hope everybody will continue to make a difference to make our society a better society.
Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you.